listening to Keith Price's Curtain Call. We are here at the press up fronts for Still, a new play by Lia Romeo. I had to make sure to get that right because I got it wrong the last time. I was going to call her Romeo, but it's Romeo. But she's the reason why people actually have lines to say. But this woman that I'm sitting here with is one of the reasons why the play is actually on the stage. One of the producers of the show, Miss Jane Dubin, who, by the way, has produced a lot of really good stuff, including one of my absolute favorite musicals, The Prom, which we will talk about in a minute. But we got to talk about Still because that's where the big business is. Hi, Miss Dubin.
Hello. It's such a pleasure to be here with
It's
you.
wonderful to be here with you. So we're here now. We're talking about this play Still. Now, you have had a really good relationship right now with this playwright. If I'm not mistaken, you've done a couple of her shows, or at least have been a part of some of the productions.
Sure. We, Blair Russell and I, who's my partner on the show, were involved in the production when it was at the DR2 Theater in Union Square back in last spring. And we both fell in love with Lia, of course, and the play, and Adrian, the director, Adrian Campbell Holt, and just felt like this play deserved a wider audience and another production and in a different time.
Well, it wasn't until I was sitting here listening to some of the premise, because I only just read, the little synopsis, but the idea of what it's talking about in terms of relationships with people, how they can change, how people within those relationships may not be the people that you think that they are, and how you deal with that. And it was like, ooh, you were right. This is a timely piece, girl. It's like, woo. So how long have you been involved with this particular project?
Well, I met Lia actually about a year and a half ago. It's kind of a funny story, but we met at something called a writer-producer speed date. 2 minutes she had to pitch, 2 minutes we had to respond, and it was kismet. It was instant.
Oh my God.
She was so clear about the why of the play. She was so clear about why she was the perfect person to write this play. And so I asked to read it, and I read it, and then the rest is history. But kismet.
Oh my! Well, I'm going to treat this like a speed date, so I can pitch something to you now that I'm thinking.
It does happen every once in a while, but that's why that elevator pitch is so important.
To be ready for that. It's so funny because going back to the show The Prom, which is, we're talking about one of the shows that I love too, but I found it so fascinating to be meeting you and having met Matthew Sklar at the closing party for Elf, and saying to him that, one of the songs from the show, Zaz, is like, I didn't even know what the words were for the whole song, but that was the first thing I was singing walking out. And we talked about the joy of producing something that produces that kind of oomph and stuff. And with you, what you're producing now with this play feels like it's not the same kind of joyous oomph, but it's certainly giving, it's like cutting a hole in the bag to let the air out.
Yeah, well, I think everybody has a different reaction to the play.
Yeah.
Which is what makes it such good theater.
Yeah.
It's not a cookie cutter. It doesn't wrap all up in a bow like a sitcom does. It's a romance. It's challenging. It's funny, and I just think it's so witty, but it's really about two people, and it's about two people of a certain age that we don't get to really explore very much, who have romance. But they also are seeking connection, right? And they're connecting with their younger selves in a way. And don't we all, we all are looking for connection.
Wow. And having to change, having to see people being people that have changed over the years.
Yeah.
Because that's what we were talking about this earlier, that one of my best friends and I were just yesterday talking about how he's so estranged from his father primarily because of political beliefs and, a lot of childhood trauma that was never been resolved. And we were talking about, I said to him, I go, sometimes you just don't get to resolve that.
Right.
And I feel like what you're just telling me now that this is one of those plays that it's not going to get resolved. You're left to have a conversation.
Right. It's in process.
Right.
I mean, this is happening in real time. It's 75-minute play. in real time. So not everything gets wrapped up in a bow in a couple of hours. So when it ends, we're now like, oh, what's going to happen?
Right.
I'm not sure, but this happened to me, and this is what happened, but this is what happened to me.
Right.
So there's so many people have different experiences in real life, and I think that's what makes it so interesting.
That's what you have to do. Oh wow. Well, Miss Dubin, darn it, thank you so much for being so fabulous.
Oh.
I knew in my head that we were going to have a good conversation.
Oh,
I
it's
just
great.
knew we were. So pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So everybody, Jane Dubin.
Hi.
We are talking about The Place Still, which starts. When's the first preview?
The first preview is January 28th,
Okay.
Monday night, and on Tuesday we're having a special performance that will benefit the entertainment fund for their efforts for relief in LA.
Fabulous.
Very excited about that.
That's going to be great. It's my mama's birthday too, so that's going to be great too. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
You're
Oh.